This is Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. Here's your host, Mark News.
And good morning, and thanks so much for joining us on the program today. Today we're going to talk about issues surrounding homeless veterans in Central Ohio. And with us today is Mike Gressel. He's the general manager of Hetter Heating and Cooling here in Central Ohio, and they have been a contributor to some of the different ways to help homeless veterans. We also have two representatives from the VA with us today. Tracy Washington, who is the chief for the Center of Development and Civic Engagement, and Carl Landry is also here. He's the Community Outreach Division Coordinator with the VA here in Central Ohio. I'd like to thank you all for being here today and taking some time to talk about an important subject.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Mike, first of all, Hetter Heating and Cooling has been involved in raising money and making donations for our local homeless vets for several years now. Talk a little bit about how Hetter Heating and Cooling got involved in this.
Well, we wanted to continue to support the community in different ways, and we spoke as a staff with the technicians and the office staff, and we told them that what we wanted to do was not only help the veterans who have served, but also specifically earmark the funds to an individual account that they had. When we met with Tracy, she showed us the different things that they do throughout the community and different services they offer. And we elected to choose the Homeless Fund, Fund 524. Everybody got behind that. We feel that regardless of the time that they served, they all served and they deserve an opportunity to be helped when they need it, because they've served us. So it's a very worthy cause. It's something that the employees have gotten behind. They love the support of it. We started that in January of 2016. And to date, we've donated over $75,000 to support the homeless vets in and around the community, and we'll continue to do that.
Tracy, talk a little bit about how big the problem of homeless vets is here in the Central Ohio area.
Well, I think I want to defer to my colleague Carl about that.
Sure.
When we look at Franklin County, any given time, we estimate between 75 and 80 veterans are experiencing homelessness that we know of that are sheltered and unsheltered. There's likely a cohort of veterans who are maybe living in their car, or perhaps we haven't engaged them yet, and certainly a larger group who what we call is housing insecure, living with family, friends, but they don't have a lease. They're not exactly have a real clear pathway toward housing. So that's what we're seeing here in Franklin County.
Mm-hmm. And Tracy, talk a little bit about how the VA is trying to help these vets.
So there's a number of ways that the VA helps. I think I want to start just by telling you a story about how it works.
Oh, definitely.
So through the Center for Development and Civic Engagement, we have the ability to help veterans who might need resources that can't be obtained in the community. So one day, as the chief of the service, I shadowed one of Carl's social workers. He's an outreach social worker. And on the particular day that I went out with this social worker, it was pouring down rain. We pulled our car to the edge of a wooded area and got out. When we entered the woods, there was a clearing, and all around there were makeshift tents, huts, and even people sleeping on pallets. My colleague John alerted people that we were there by shouting VA outreach and asking each person we met if they were a veteran. Through the rain, we heard a man say, "I'm a veteran." We looked behind us, and the man motioned for us and said, "Come in out the rain." We went into his hut. I'll call him Tim. And while John was talking to him, I looked around and noticed that he had a large assortment of books, and I just remember being really impressed by that. As John talked to Tim, it quickly became apparent that he wasn't ready to get off the land or seek VA care. And I thought to myself, how are we going to help this veteran in the here and now? The answer, we took baby steps. We used donated funds to purchase a sleeping bag for Tim, so at least he was warm and comfortable. Tim wasn't at a point where he trusted us enough to take those next steps towards ending his homelessness, at least not that day. We were, however, able to plant a seed of trust. And it's donations like we get from Hetter Heating and Cooling that makes this possible. And these types of scenarios, they happen every day. Donations from organizations, like I said, like Hetter, have been essential in helping to change the lives of veterans in ways that on the surface may seem like small wins. However, these small wins end up being major victories. When veterans have food and housing security, it greatly reduces their feelings of hopelessness or even suicidal ideation. We like to think that caring for our veterans doesn't stop with providing them with a medical appointment. These donations help our veterans' whole health. Remember Tim? He's now connected with VA care and housing for him and his books. And these are just that's just one example of the ways that these funds help. We might have a veteran, for example, who has pulmonary issues, and his electric is getting ready to be cut off. Well, he can't use his oxygen if his electric is turned off. So we may pay a utility bill, or we may get a homeless veteran housing through the furniture bank, pay for that furniture. There's just an A to Z. Even if it's something as small as a bus pass to get that homeless veteran to and from their medical appointments until Carl's team is able to get them housed. I could go on and on, but I know it's a short segment, but those are some of the ways they help.
And while we're on that topic, Mike, I know that you have a list of some of the ways that the money goes to help these veterans. Could you talk about some of those?
Yeah, Tracy had mentioned it. The CODA passes, for instance, just to get them to and from their medical appointments are a big deal. The furniture bank, once they're able to get temporary housing, is a huge help. And she mentioned the sleeping bag for Tim. They provide clothing, because they need everything. They have personal hygiene items, underwear, socks, hats, gloves. We're getting ready to move into winter, and that's important. And it's incredible that they can go out, find the individuals and help them in any way they can. And it's a step-by-step process. It's a day-by-day process. And they're willing to get them through that process. And any funds that we can provide to assist with that, we take great pride in that.
Carl?
Yeah, we also use the funds to help veterans pay deposits for utilities and maybe past due utilities. That's a huge barrier for individuals who are moving from homelessness into housing. Many of them, we may be able to get them into a house, but utilities are often a barrier, and the resources in the community are pretty limited. And so we've been very fortunate in being able to take care of past due utility bills, both from gas and electric, and it's really helped facilitate the time, and it's reduced the time veterans have to experience homelessness for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we have over 125 social workers at the Columbus VA, and I was just thinking as Carl was talking, one of the things that this fund helps with is we at one point had a veteran that was feeling suicidal. We would be able to get them into a shelter, but the shelter, this person did not feel safe at the shelter, and it would just elevate his suicidal ideation. And so with the fund, we were able to get him a temporary hotel stay where he felt safe until we were able to get him housed. So just so many different scenarios.
And Carl, one of the things you mentioned was housing insecurity, and that's something that we hear a lot. Some people are literally one paycheck away, one illness away from not having a place to live, and that's a big problem not only with the veteran community, but with the community in general. So what are you seeing there with our veterans community? You talk about how you can give them a hand.
So in our community, and I think you've touched on this, housing insecurity is a big issue. Rent prices are increasing, inflation is increasing, and it's really pushing individuals who have limited income to the margins. It's hitting some cohorts more than others, particularly older individuals and older veterans who are on a fixed income, whose income cannot match the rate of inflation. And so we're able to use these funds to help maybe bridge a gap or to keep them along or to find a solution so they don't have to enter into homelessness as a result of nothing on their own. It's just simply a consequence of these larger social factors.
Now, Mike Gressel is here from Hetter Heating and Cooling. They have put together a program to help support our homeless vets. And Tracy Washington and Carl Landry are also here from the VA talking about the problem here in Central Ohio and what they do about it. Tracy, is there a phone number or some way that someone can get a hold of the VA if they'd like to help?
Yeah, they can contact our staff. If they're looking for, they have a veteran that may be experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness, then that number is 614-257-5499. If you're looking to donate, whether it be in kind or monetarily, that number is 614-257-5493. And
there's also a national hotline, homeless veteran hotline, that veterans can call from wherever, and that goes directly to our staff, and we return a call to them by the next day. They can be reached at 877-242-3838.
And of course, if you want to grab a pen, if you'd like to jot down these phone numbers, we'll give them again before the end of the program. Mike, there are probably some business people out there who would love to get involved in something like this. What would you say to them about how this has gone for Hetter? And not only are you giving to a good cause, but it's kind of a team building. Your employees get involved in it too, don't they?
Yes, we keep them up to date. Every quarter we give them an update as to how we're doing. And it's something that when we first started, Tracy, it wasn't a whole lot of money. At least it didn't seem like to us. But we quickly found out that the money goes, like the first check was, I think, $500. And when you look at the itemized cost and how you're able to help somebody, and then after that first year, they gave us a number of how many families we were able to help. It adds up over time, and every little bit helps. And that's the one thing I would encourage any business that wants to get involved. Just start somewhere, start at some dollar amount, and then just do what you can. It's just become part of what we do, and every month we send them a check, and every month they send us a thank you letter back, and that's enough.
And businesses can also, if they're not wanting to donate monetarily, there might be a hotel out there that would donate a bank of rooms for our veterans that were needing to get temporarily housed, or if you want to do a fundraiser within your company and do things like donate gas cards so that a veteran that's living in their car can have fuel for his or her car. We mentioned bus passes. A lot of in-kind donations really go a long way as well. Some companies have done an employee drive where sort of like the combined federal campaign, but just specifically for our VA. Batal did that at one point several years ago. But there's a lot of ways.
We work really close with partners in the community, particular Faith Mission and Volunteers of America, where they provide emergency housing to our veterans. And so there are opportunities to provide in-kind donations through those organizations as well to directly benefit the veterans. And that's something we can help coordinate.
Absolutely. And, there are a lot of folks maybe listening that, there are also, there's a population of female veterans. If you want to donate specifically to the female veterans, we have a fund for that. If you want to donate, and your passion is with like recreation. We have recreational therapists that take veterans to things like the wheelchair games or the National Tea Tournament for our blind or visually impaired veterans. So many ways to get involved. And again, if they call the number, the 614-257-5488, we'd be happy to talk to you about different ways you can get involved. And on top of the monetary and in-kind donations, there might be groups that want to donate their time to supporting our veterans, coming in and pushing a wheelchair, or coming in and making a patient reminder call, or greeting veterans. Lots of different ways to get involved.
Yeah.
We have a partner in National Church Residence where they provide permanent supportive housing to a large group of veterans. And so they're at the stage where they have housing, but they have ongoing needs. And so we're still in the process of recovering from the experience of COVID and the pandemic, where a lot of those supports and engagement has really receded. And we're just starting to build this back up. So having these opportunities, if there are individuals who have interest in reaching out and being involved in this, let us know. And I think that's something we would like to do to move things forward and to really engage veterans and the community members together.
Yeah, and a good thing about the temporary supportive housing that Carl just talked about, it's the Commons at Livingston. There's about 100 veterans that are formerly homeless veterans.
Yeah.
And if organizations want to adopt that group, they can do that as well. They have a sort of a day room there. We've had organizations go in and teach healthy eating or healthy cooking techniques because there's a kitchen there. They've gone in and done workshops on how to write the best resume. There's just an A to Z thing that you can do if you want to be specific to that population at the Commons.
On the program with us today, Mike Gressel, the general manager of Hetter Heating and Cooling. They've been raising money to help homeless vets here in Central Ohio, and two representatives from the VA. We have Tracy Washington, who is the chief of the Center for Development and Civic Engagement here in Central Ohio, and Carl Landry, also with the VA. He is the Community Outreach Division Coordinator. I talk to a lot of folks who work with veterans, particularly every county in Ohio has a Veteran Services Commission, and whether it's Buck Bramlage here in Franklin County or Brian Gallagher in Delaware County, they say the same thing all the time to me, and that is there is a reluctance among veterans to ask for help. If there's something ingrained in them that they have to be self-sufficient, or some of them, like the Vietnam veterans, have trust issues for obvious reasons. So talk a little bit about how you convince these veterans, whether it's for themselves or for their families, to get the help they need.
Well, I think the first step is understanding that help does exist. I think the largest barrier for folks who are experiencing challenges is the belief that no one cares. And that's, or there's no support for me. And having opportunities to do outreach and to let people know that there is a hand there that can help them through this is the first step. The second thing is just developing a rapport, ongoing contact on their terms, so that when the decision is made, we are there to assist to help them make the next decision. So I think it's a slow process from that, and then we leverage all the resources to develop a plan to help them integrate back into the community and really live their best life. And that's really what we want for the veterans, to live independently and to have an experience just like anyone else does about the ability to make a choice of how they live.
Yeah, and because there are more organizations than just the VA or just the local organizations out there who really want to help veterans.
Yeah, and I think, as Carl said, touched on outreach, one of the ways we capture veterans that are hesitant is doing morale building things for veterans that they want to come to. So we recently had a suicide prevention awareness festival. It was a family event, And veterans came to that, and we had VA staff on board to talk to them about whatever it was they're going through. And it made them feel comfortable, made them feel more comfortable about coming to us. And we do that through like a holiday party event that we invite veterans and their families to. But at each one of those outreach events, that once again, we can't do it without donations. At each one of those events, we have VA staff there to answer any questions that veterans might have. Another reason why some veterans are hesitant is that they feel like I feel fine. I want it to go to someone who really needs it. Mm-hmm. But what they don't realize is that by them coming to VA, even if it's just for once a year for their primary care appointment, they are helping other veterans get more funding for VA services. So staying away because you feel that someone is more deserving is not a reason to stay away. We want you there because being there helps your comrades, your fellow veterans. So
fantastic. Mike, let's talk a little bit about, you said that your company has helped raise $75,000 to help the homeless vets since 2016. Talk a little bit about how you raise that money.
Well, we take a percentage of our monthly sales, and based on how well things are going, it can range anywhere from $500 in a given month to a couple $1,000 in a given month, and so it's based on how we're doing. And to be honest with you, sometimes we might not have the weather or the business that we want, but it's like anything else. We got to make sure that we still send that check because those needs are constant. Yeah. And I'm interested to hear from Carl. Just the ranges, the age ranges, and whether it's male, female, young, old, the need is there every month, every day, and it's good to hear these stories and know that the funds are helping out.
Yeah.
So when we look at Franklin County, the size and the demographics, about 10% of the veteran population is female. Most are male. The average age, and we did some calculations recently, is 59. So, which is, like I said earlier, that the homelessness, particularly now, is disproportionately hitting older community members and older veterans. Yeah. Which that in itself is presenting interesting and new challenges for that. So that's the scope and what we're experiencing right now.
Mm-hmm. I guess one of the main questions is, you talked about housing insecurity being one of the reasons that the veterans are out on the streets. What are some of the other key factors?
Sure. So when we think about homelessness and we think about stability, we really look at three different factors. One is going to be the community factor. Things like what's the job market like, what's the housing market like, is there a capacity for a person to enter into those institutions that help obtain and maintain independence? And so if that's constricted, that's going to be one variable. The second variable is going to look at what's going on with the individual themselves. Is there an ongoing health issue, behavioral health issue, like a mental health diagnosis that they've been struggling with for over time? Also substance use, that may be a factor. And one of those, and when we think about those, we also recognize that trauma is a huge factor in both defining and impacting the experience of behavioral health. So that's the second leg of that. And then the third one is, what is this individual's natural supports? Do they have family members? Do they have partners? Do they have children? Are they connected with a church? Are they connected with a group? Because those are the three things. Because there are plenty of people who have ongoing behavioral health issues but don't experience homelessness, right?
Right.
Because they may have the family support to kind of help them out through that. Or you have people who have economic times. They lose their job and they go through a rough patch, but they don't become homeless because they've got the family support, or they're able to find different coping mechanisms and to develop differently. It's when those three things come together, that's when a person is really vulnerable to experiencing a homelessness.
Yeah.
I can kind of speak to that. I'm an Army retiree, actually, and when I first retired from the military, I moved back to Columbus. That's where my family is. But I also was very proud, and the retirement wasn't the same as my pay, and I didn't have a job. And so I found myself at the Franklin County Veteran Service Commission at 6 o'clock in the morning trying to get aid so that I could get a hotel. And I actually went to VA and sought help. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm really, really passionate about what it is we do, because I've also experienced firsthand what it likes to be on the brink of homelessness. And you want your veterans and everyone to feel like they're treated with dignity, respect 100% of the time. And that's what happened for me when I went to VA for support, and I went to Franklin County when I was on the brink of homelessness. So any veteran out there that's experiencing that, you give us a chance. There's help for you. So.
Well, we're just about out of time on the program. So, Carl, one more time, if you could give me the phone numbers where people can call to inquire and to if they want to give help too as well, plus the National Homeless Veterans Hotline.
Sure. So the first thing is that if you're in Franklin County and you need a place to stay, we encourage you to call the one number or coordinated point of access, and that's area code 614-274-7000. If you need some initial assistance and you're a veteran and you have just questions about what services may be available to you as a person who is housing insecure or you're homeless, give us a call at 614-257-5499. And of course, there's a national hotline that you can call at any time. It's 877-424-3838.
And Mike, it's always good for people that they like to do business with people who do good things. So what's your company website if people are interested?
They can go to HetterHeating.com. It's HetterHeating.com.
Our guests on the program today have been Mike Gressel, the General Manager at Hetter Heating and Cooling, and two representatives from the Veterans Administration, Tracy Washington and Carl Landry. I'd like to thank you all for being here and everything you do. And Tracy, thanks for sharing those personal stories with us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Do I have any time to give the number if they want to give to VA?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 614-257-5493.
Fantastic. Well, thanks you all for being here today, and thanks for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. You can send questions or comments about today's show to Columbus Concerns in care of this station, 1458 Dublin Road, Columbus 43215. Or email us at columbusconcerns@napcomedia.com.
I'm Tiffany Haddish.
And I'm Marlon Wayans. African Americans are 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer than any other racial or ethnic group.
When you or someone you love is facing a pancreatic cancer diagnosis, access to cutting-edge treatment can help make long-term survival possible and improve future patient outcomes.
That's why Stand Up to Cancer and the Lustgarten Foundation have teamed up to bring over 30 pancreatic cancer clinical trials to those who need them.
Learning all you can about pancreatic cancer, including treatment options and what clinical trials are available, can give you or a loved one even more than hope. It can help make long-term survival possible.
For more information about the latest pancreatic cancer research and clinical trials near you, visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.
I love this song! I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.